Hey guys, it's Melanie from melaniekham.com. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we are going to make this loom knit hat. Now I made one of these way back in 2015 and you guys loved it, and I've been meaning to do more of these tutorials, and I was inspired recently, which I'll tell you more about in a second, but we're going to be using the large loom, round loom, and a bulky size 6 yarn. Here's the one that I used. And my friends over at World Vision, you guys know I love working with them, they were sharing with me this story of a boy who's a Syrian refugee using a loom to make hats and various projects to keep himself busy during the pandemic. So I wanted to highlight, it's been 10 years since the Syrian refugee crisis started. I'm gonna grab my materials, let's go make this hat, and you can watch a little bit more about Muat and what World Vision is doing right here while I get set up. So let's get started. I'm going to show you how to make it. All right, so grab your bulky yarn. This is a bulky size 6. You can use a size 5 or a double strand of a size 4. And this is the large boy loom, or there's different manufacturers that make it, but this is the large one. It's 42 pegs, I believe. And then you need the little hooky guy that comes with it. We're going to start with a slip knot. And we're going to attach that on this peg here. Okay, and then we are gonna cast on. So we're gonna wrap clockwise around each peg, going all the way around. Okay, now we're coming back around again, and you can kind of push that down a little ways. And we're gonna do like a half wrap. So we're gonna bring it in the front and back behind and just sort of hold that with your fingers. Take your hook and take that first loop and knit it over. Okay? And you're gonna do that all the way around. Okay, do that all the way around. All right, so here's how it's looking. Everything is on there. We're back around. And you can take the slip knot off now if you'd like. Now we're gonna alternate between two different stitches. We're gonna do the knit stitch, which is just exactly what we just did. Okay, so that's gonna be kind of that little half wrap. Bring that over. Then we're going to do a purl stitch, and that looks like bringing it in the front. Then you're going to go underneath this loop. Don't worry, I'm going to show you this a couple of times. Pull up that working yarn to create a new loop. And then pop that new loop on the peg and tighten it. Okay, so let me show you again. So knit stitch. Okay, then bring your working yarn around to the front. And you're going to go underneath the loop that's on that peg. And you're going to scoop up the working yarn. Okay, that knit stitch went up and over. Bring this around to the front. Scoop underneath the loop on your peg and pull up that working loop. Take it off the peg and put the new loop on, tighten it down. So you're going to alternate. You're going to do knit, stitch, knit, purl, all the way around. And if you're anything like me, you might get it interrupted and forget. You can add some stitch markers. So like if I want to add a stitch marker for every time I purl, so you can add a little stitch marker, or a sticker, or just something to remind you, because it's sometimes a little difficult to tell which is which. And you can kind of see the ones that have the loop, the new loop, right? So the new loops are the ones that are purl, and then the one where it looks like it's wrapped, that's the knit, okay? So let's do it one more time. Knit, up and over, purl, and you're going to go around and do that 6 times. I'm doing 6 times because I'm doing a bulky yarn. If you are doing a size 5 or a double size 4, then you could do it 8 times, okay? But you're going to keep going around just in that same fashion for 6 rounds, and then I will meet you there to do the main body of our hat. This is the brim. So on my sample, we have the brim and then the body of the hat. So we're working on our brim right now. So if you have a different number of pegs, you can end with your 2 purls and then start again with your knit, if that is the case for your loom. Okay, so we just finished 1 round, 5 more to go. You can see I put the stitch markers just ever so often to remind myself that that's a purl stitch. And then if I get confused, like later on down here, I can just go back and remind myself. I don't need to do it on every other peg. All right, so now I'm done with the brim, and the next steps are pretty easy. We're going to be moving into making the body of the hat, okay? So the first thing that we need to do is, I kind of like to push these down because we're going to do one of those full wrap knits stitches like we did when we first cast on. Okay, so we're going to do the full wrap, so that's clockwise. And we're going to do that all the way around. Okay, we are back at the beginning. So then we will knit off, right? So take the lower loop up and over. And you'll do that all the way around. All right, I just finished up knitting off all the way, and now we're going to do that exact same thing again. So the repeat is going to be 2 rounds of that full wrap. So 2 rounds of that full wrap, and then 1 round of the purl, okay? But first we'll go all the way around and do the exact same thing again. All right, that is done. Now we're going to do an entire round of the purl. Remember, so that way the working yarn comes in the front, and then we scoop up that working yarn to create a new loop. And then we put that loop on the peg and tighten it down. So you're going to do that all the way around, and then we're going to repeat it again. Okay, so we'll do this all the way around, then we'll do another round of that full wrap knit off, full wrap knit off, round of the purl. And we're going to do that until it's about a total of 40 rounds, including our brim. So if the brim was about 6 rounds, we need to do this about 34 times. 34 times total. So the repeat would be about 11 times, right? And then we'll finish off with 2 rounds of that E-wrap, that full wrap knit off. All those numbers will be written down for you in case you forget, and if I said it kind of confusingly. Okay, so go ahead and finish the body of our hat. The more times you go around, the kind of slouchier the hat will be. But yeah, go ahead and do that. I will check back in with you. All right, here's how it's looking. This is the purl round. So measurement-wise, you want it to be at least 8 inches. That's more of a beanie with not too much slouch. So I'm at over 8 inches, and now I'm going to finish it up. So depending on how much slouch factor you want, you can add a few more. Okay, so I have done 30 rounds of the body of our hat, and then we have our brim. So you can add a little bit more or a little less, just depending on your yarn. This is the bulky yarn, so if you did a size 5, you could opt to do a couple of more if you'd like to. But I ended with the purl round, so we're going to do 2 rounds of that full wrap knit to finish it off, and then we will cast off. All right, so we've done that. Now we are ready to cut it. So we need a nice long tail so that we can weave in, cinch up our top, grab a yarn needle, and we need to come from the bottom upwards through that loop. You're going to come up on each peg all the way around. Make sure you're going from bottom to top. Okay, and once you have that done, then you can pull them off the pegs. And you'll know you did it right if you can cinch it up. Cinch it up. And then this is the outside of our hat. So we're going to come from the inside. Make sure you sew that hole closed so that it's nice and secure. Weave in the tail and trim. Now you can make a pom-pom or faux fur pom-pom. I will have all of my links to other options that you can do and how to attach them in the description below, so you'll do whatever you want for that. But I also want to show you down here, this has a little bit of a loose edge here. Now it's pretty and you can leave it just as it is, but I do want to show you how you can tighten that up if you want to. So you can see down here is where our tail is. So if we start to the left of it, so you kind of follow it along and then you tighten it up as you go. So see how it will sort of tighten up these stitches. Okay, and this loop will just continue to get bigger as we go all the way around, but it tightens it up here. So totally optional, just kind of one of those little funny things about the loom. Okay, so then we're back. You can see how much extra we tightened up, and then you can pull it with that yarn that we started. And if you, for some reason, have a knot here and you can't pull it that easily, that's okay. You'll just have a loop here and you can go ahead and weave that in on the wrong side. So, but you can see how much, I feel like this just has a little bit better look, a little less loopy ends there. So, a little trick for you. And then trim that and weave this tail in. And there you go. You are all finished.